Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm gonna show you my Barbarian's DPS loadout, which I've been asked a lot, and so hopefully I can tell you how to improve and maximize your damage in every possible context. So like in Tom and in IC Citadel, either on single target or AoE. So yeah, another thing that I'd like to say is I'm not English, I'm Italian, so I apologize for any mistakes that I'll make while talking, but it's like kind of hard for me. So let's get started. From the ability scores, you're gonna go for strength for the physical damage boost and dexterity for the critical severity. The movement speed is pretty nice as well, you'll see. And you must meet your offensive caps for the dungeons you're running. So for IC 85k on everything and 135k on combat advantage. It's nice to have defense capped as well. Obviously defense is necessary for Tom. Not as much for IC. You can complete IC even on 65k defense, but especially being a melee class makes you die way more often. So just try to cap your defense without giving up on too many offensive stats, and it's pretty nice. Your hit points will be in a good place anyway, as long as they are over 300k. So obviously your power, the more power you have the better, but this is basic. For your secondary stats, let's say movement speed plays an important role. So as you can see in my build, I put some movement speed here and there, and companion influence is pretty important as well. Incoming killing, well, I'm not gonna go through all the stuff about Tom and shit. Just play with whatever works for your group and the people you're running with. If you're not sure who you're running with, just being a bit tankier can help. I'm running with decent people. So my healer, I mean, she's fantastic. She can keep me alive anyway, even when I'm on minus 25% incoming healing. So whatever works for you. Just keep in mind, keep your defense capped, and then you can play with your incoming healing and hit points. Also critical severity, the more the better. Stamina regen, I know that you really need stamina for your damage bonuses, but it's not that important. It won't change your stamina regen time that much. So talking about gear, I'm using the Lion Guard's Raid Solid, but on single target I'd really like to use the Mask of Cormier as well. On single target it doesn't really matter. When you're going for Tom though, you're going to use the Protege Visor Helm, because it's way better than both these pieces when going into Tom. For Citadel, on single target I would honestly use the Mask of Cormier, and for AoE the 1k gear piece that drops from enemies that gives you 1% action points every time you kill an enemy, but I never dropped it, so I'm just going with this Lion Guard piece. Your armor is Ebonized Breastplate, nothing better than it, gives you a shit ton of power. Spike Defender Vambrace, it's best in slot for IC. When you're going into Tom, hopefully you have a Bark Shield as your armor enchantment. So I would say, as long as you're using a Bark Shield, go for the Lion Guard's Raid Vambraces. If you have anything different from a Bark Shield, just go with the Spike Defender Vambrace. Your armor enchantment ideally would be Eclipse for IC and Bark Shield for Tom. Obviously Lionheart set for your weapons, and on your weapons you're gonna use the Bilethorn on single target and Lightning on AoE. Your bonus on the main hand will be Relentless Lash, because it's your go-to at will every time, either on single target or mobs. It's just the hardest hitting at will, so you're gonna use that. And on your offhand, you should choose critical severity and power to maximize your DPS. Feat are the Arrested Iron leggings, and these are the feat that will grant you the best DPS, but also they come with minus 25% incoming healing. So as I told you, it depends on your group, but these are indeed the ones you should use, let's say in a perfect situation where you want to maximize your damage. The set that I'm using is the Call of Evil one, the one that drops from IC, and it's the best one to use in IC, obviously. When you're going into Tom, the best ones are Orcus, but Orcus will make you also way squishier. So if you want to gain like 1% damage but lose 30k hit points and stats and stuff, well, like, go for it. But honestly, I can't be asked to change, so I just go with this one. You're gonna lose like maybe 2-3 millions a run, but also having 30k more hit points is nice when you're running on some negative incoming healing. You won't lose a lot of damage anyway. I have to say Alistair's set is pretty good as well in Tom. It would allow you to run the Blast Scepter and also the 3 journals as secondary artifacts, so that one is decent as well. And yeah, so as your rings, you're gonna run the 2 melee rings. I don't run 2 veterans because I don't need more critical strike, right? I'm already capped and I don't need to go over 100k. Your shirt is the one with the stamina bonus, even if it doesn't happen so often in IC to have your stamina over 75%. When you have it, it's a good damage increase, and all the other shirts are not as good for me. They don't work for me, maybe they do for you, but with the Eclipse, this one's pretty nice. And also, as the trousers, if you have the trousers with 4k defense and a critical charge equip bonus, those are the best ones. I never found them, so I just stick with this one that will give me a bit less defense, but I can cap my defense anyway, so it's not a big deal. Going for your artifacts, well, the Envenomed as main artifact in IC doesn't really matter. I think in any group you can run whatever you want, and so you should go with Envenomed and the other 2 journals, so you will get the Lost Mouth set bonus, and also like they will give you 30k hit points altogether, which is pretty nice. And also having 2 of them will increase by 2 every of your ability scores. The third one is obviously the Book of Vile Darkness to complete the Call of Evil set. And okay, as your enchantments, on your offensive slots Radiance, on your defensive slots, now I'm using Azures because I need to cap my defense. And remember that defense, as long as it's not capped, it's always better than hit points, so always invest into defense points if it's not capped, obviously, and then go for hit points. Using power reinforcement kits on the left side of the equipment and combat advantage on the right one. Stamina regen are not gonna make a huge difference anyway, so it doesn't make any sense to run them. And yeah, this is pretty much everything. Remember to run 1 Tenebrous enchantment, because it's like it sums up to a bit of a good part of your damage. It's better than having 1 Radiant, but just run 1. It's not worth it to run more than 1 Tenebrous enchantment. And on your utility slots, it's always up to you. Darks or tacticals, whatever keeps you alive. And when you can stay alive, try to maximize your DPS. And yeah, so I will say we should be done with the gear, and so let's move on to powers. So for powers, single target, Relentless Lash will always be your best at will, so use it wherever. I have Sure Strike on the other slot just because when you can't hit the enemy, you can build up rage using Sure Strike, but that will always make you walk forward, so watch out for that. And your encounters are going to be the hardest hitting encounters that you have on single target, so Bloodletter, IBS, Frenzy. and as your daily you have Savage Advance and Avalanche of Steel. On single target you're always going to use Savage Advance, and it's better than Crescendo because of the casting time. Class features, Steel Blades and Barbed Strikes. The only point when Trample the Fallen would be decent to use, it's when you have like DPS checks in Tome. That would be decent because during the DPS checks you can use Punishing Charge, because the DPS check is going to last 10 seconds anyway, or even less than that. You can use Punishing Charge instead of IDS, and also people are going to use their swarms. That will allow you to take advantage from the second effect of Trample the Fallen as well. Also, you're not going to use a lot of ad-wheels during your DPS checks, so just switch out Steel Blades for Trample the Fallen for the DPS checks in Tome. And these are the feats. The first one doesn't really matter for single target. Then you got the feat for Bloodletter, Over Penetration, Steel Slam. Even if you're basically never going to use Steel Avalanche on single target, but maybe you forget about switching loadouts and stuff, just keep that one because an Unstoppable Spin is useless anyway. Relentless Battle Rage, because the other one is bullshit. You're never gonna get your rage back if you use Escalating Rage, and you might get stuck sometimes, and it might be painful like during some phases of Tome. And so yeah, Relentless Battle Rage is so much better, allows you to use your rage so many more times, and even if it lowers your damage when you're in rage. And then let's go for the boons. Campaigns go for power, hit points, defense to cap it. I have the damage and damage resistance versus fiends for IC. Movement speed, companion influence, these two are necessary to have. And then for the tier 5 you can use crit severity and recharge speed. Your master boon for single target will be Bloodlust, or if you feel like using Focused Retaliation you can go for that one as well, but I find it Bloodlust to be better. My Guild Stronghold boon are critical severity. Even if I would have power, I would still use critical severity because it's better. And on the defense I'm using defense to cap it. And on utility, obviously the Revive Sickness, because it will save you like a lot of damage loss when taking Revive Sicknesses, and also some hit points. So it's really important to have this one, especially when going for Tome if you're not really confident with mechanics. And okay, companions now. I'm using the Quasit because I need accuracy rather than the combat advantage from the Bullet. So it doesn't really matter, just use whatever you need to cap your stats. One is not better than the other. You can also use the Icosahedron if you don't need defense but you need critical strike, for example. And so the companion items that I'm using are the Iron Pain combat advantage, accuracy combat advantage, and full combat advantage for the last one. All the empowered runestones, and my obviously bondings, and my enhancement is Potent Precision, because 5% crit severity is way better than any other bonus you can get. Some people like underestimate this one, but 5% crit severity is really nice to have. So remember to use the right enhancement. And also my companion bonuses are 8k from the Deep Crow. If your group runs Raptor, you can switch to Raptor, and that will be those will be the two choices that you have, either Deep Crow or Raptor, but just make sure that your whole group is using it. And then you have for defense powers the Lone Stone of Allure, and Minstrel, and Splinters. These are the best ones to give you the most damage you can on single target, and there's not a lot to say about it. This 4k crit severity, 4% crit severity, it's better than another 2k power, so it's better than the Yonstone of Might. The Compy is the best one for utility. If you can't afford it, which I would understand, go for the Owlbear. and that's pretty much it. For the mounts, let's see. You can rock the Storm if you have it, and if you don't, like the T-Rex is fine too, whatever, even a Tensa, whatever you have, guys. The best one is the Storm, obviously, on single target, and 10k power. And also for the insignias, you're gonna run Dominance wherever you can and fill the enlightened spots with brutalities. 3 gladiators gills to give you more movement speed. Shepherd's Devotion, you know, because I use it mainly when I'm on AoE after using Avalanche of Steel. It's nice to be faster. So it also features 3 dominance insignia, so I find it to be nice. And Artefacts of Persuasion that unfortunately doesn't stack, so having just one is the way to go. And yeah, and it's nice to have to reduce your cooldowns after your artifact. And that's it. And now I'm gonna talk about potions. In my potions bar I have the Elstone that is needed in every dungeon, the Alliance Battle Horn, and the Sorbet, just in case I die and I need to pop it again. If you're in Tom and you think you won't die, then go for another Alliance Battle Horn. And also the other potions that I'm using are the Superior Flask of Potency, Wildstorm Elixir, and if you're in Citadel and need some movement speed, go for the Sambucade from the guild. And I think that's it. I'm gonna switch to my AoE loadout to show you the differences. The reason why I have an A like on the at the start of the name of my loadouts is just to keep them at the top so I can switch quickly. And yeah, on my AoE loadout, what changes? I'm running a lightning enchantment because it's like a beast on AoE. Bilethorn won't even have the time to proc most of the times. And the primal boots to get a lot of hit points when a lot of action points, sorry, when you kill an enemy. It doesn't have an internal cooldown, so every time it will just be 3% action points. It's crazy. On AoE, what you want to do is focusing on getting your daily back as quick as possible. So that's another reason why we ran the Envenomed on AoE. As many Steel Avalanche as you can use, and that will give you a lot of DPS. Then yeah, these are the gear changes. Let's move to the powers. I'm running completely different encounters. I just keep Bloodletter for the big guy who is always in every group of mobs. Mighty Leap, the best way to use it is use it before approaching the mobs without hitting anything, as your feat tells you to do. And then use it again when you're in the mobs and try to hit the most of them. Not so fast, it's nice because it's AoE, so it's AoE damage, and also procs Trample the Fallen, which I'm using on AoE. And most of the people don't realize that not so fast, if you hit 3 enemies with it, it's already better than IDS, let's say. So even if it has a lower magnitude, it doesn't mean it's worse or something. So these are easily the best AoE encounters, with Axstorm being decent in if you pull big groups of mobs in Citadel. The dailies are the same. The difference is that you're always going to use Avalanche of Steel instead of Savage Advance on Savage Advance on single target and Avalanche on AoE. And this time on AoE you'll make use of the 4th feat Steel Slam, because it will also proc your Trample the Fallen and deal a decent damage to enemies. The reason why I'm running Trample the Fallen over Steel Blitz on AoE is because most of my damage on AoE comes from the daily, and I want it to hit hard, and also Mighty Leap is pretty good. So Steel Blitz, I don't find it to be that worth it on AoE, even if it's still nice. I mean, if you just have one loadout, just run Steel Blitz all the way through. And the feats are the same, it doesn't really change anything. For my companions, I just switched to the green slime, so I can use using this 8k defense allows me to switch to the guild boon of hit points, so I can have more hit points on AoE, since it's really kind of hard to survive if you have big pools of mobs in Citadel. And yeah, this is it. On my mount, I don't change anything regarding the insignias or insignia bonuses, but I do change my combat power to the X-Beak, because it deals really big damage all around you. It's like a small range, but it's still a lot of damage, even 700-800k when it crits. And so yeah, you gotta try it to understand how good it is. And if you don't have it, I would say whatever works. So Swarm, Tensa is really good as well. And yeah, just try to find something that can fit your playstyle. And this is it. I don't think there's anything else to say. The rotations, yeah. So on single target, what I do is use your encounters out of rage every time, and pop your rage every time your encounters are on cooldown and it's over like 50%. It doesn't matter if it's at 100% or 51%, just pop your rage when your encounters are on cooldown. If one of your encounters is like 1-2 seconds from getting off cooldown, just wait for it, use it, and then go in rage. The only moment where you should use your encounters in rage is when you're sure that you'll get them out of rage, out of cooldown after that phase. For example, on the DPS checks, you know that the DPS check is gonna last 10 seconds. So if you start with full rage will last 8 seconds. Use all your encounters, and then you have time to build your rage back and to get your encounters back while you can't hit the enemy. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the single target rotation. And also use always your daily when you're in rage, because if it crits, it's gonna be a big chunk of damage. So Savage Advance always when you're in rage, but when you're on AoE, never use your daily in rage, because it will waste a lot of time of your rage. Because it takes a lot to cast Steel Avalanche, so just use it and then pop rage, because after Steel Avalanche you're gonna have the aggro of all the mobs, not all the mobs, but like most of them, no matter how good your tank is, but it's like a huge damage from your daily, so tank is really likely to lose aggro and you're really likely to get it. So two things that can avoid you to get some revive sicknesses is number one, popping your rage just after your daily, so you can get also damage reduction, and number two is Shepherd's Devotion. So you will have a bit more movement speed after you hit with your daily, and that will let you escape from some tricky AoEs or, you know, some enemies' attacks. And that's pretty much it. Remember to try to use your not so fast at the beginning of the group of mobs, so you can have both bonuses from Trample the Fallen. Trample the Fallen is really good because you can use your not so fast every 11 seconds, and Trample the Fallen lasts 10 seconds. And also the second effect from it doesn't rely on you controlling the enemies. It can be whoever in the party. So if anyone's running a Bythorn, the slowdown effect of the Bythorn will proc the second effect. If a wizard is freezing them or whatever, you'll just get a bonus. So Trample the Fallen is really huge on AoE. And yeah, Bloodletter for the big guy in the group of mobs, and Mighty Leap, try to cast it. You have to cast it within 6 seconds after the first cast. Try to get all the mobs around and just use it when you're in between them. Also, same thing for the X-Beak. Try to be in the middle, because you can't choose where to cast the X-Beak. It will just run around you, so just make sure you're in the middle of mobs. and yeah, also try not to die, which will be really hard. In Citadel, look out for the AoEs from the Cambions, because they're gonna basically one-shot you. Okay, that's pretty much everything I have to say. Sorry if I've been repetitive. I hope I was clear anyway. And okay, hope you have fun with this build, hope it helped you, and good luck for your runs, guys. See you next time.